Let's talk about the high yellow, the acceptable Negro, the houseboy. Amoral Minds, I'm your host, RJ Roger, and what we're going to talk about today is the history of the light-complected black people and the many atrocities that they have been faced with. Now, this show today comes by special thanks to a commenter of mine who has been attacking me a lot lately, and I don't know why, but some of the attacks I take on this little tiny channel I just started has been my skin complexion. And one guy left a comment and said, look at him. He's probably 70% plus Caucasian, and which is fine. But it gave me an idea for a show. Now, I want to shift gears a bit and talk about a girl named Rosa Downs, a 6-year-old slave girl that comes out of New Orleans. And there was a photograph published with her and another slave boy. This photo was used essentially as a fundraising photo to help fund education for freed, slaved kids. All right. Now, when this photo was published, the caption under the photo describes Rosa Downs. And this is what they published. Rosa Downs is a fair child with blonde complexion and silky hair. She has a white-skinned sister, 3 dark-skinned brothers. She's a colored girl with a mixed-race mother. How they wrote it in the article was a mulatto mother. Now, why was this photo so controversial? It wasn't the taboo perspective that what is this little white girl doing locking arms with a black boy? That would never have been tolerated. That would have sent people marching in the street. That wasn't what made it so controversial, even though that did spark the attention of many. Why is this black boy touching that white girl? That wasn't what it was. It was that she was a white slave. Now, let's go into the history of the white slave. When the Union Army was marching in or going into the South to wipe out the Confederacy, the Union soldiers were stunned at what they saw as to seeing so many white slaves on plantations. They even said they had a tough time or could not at all even separate the difference between your free white man from the white slave in the field. They was looking onto plantations and seeing white people, seemingly white people, working alongside black slaves. Little did they know these were not white people. These were not white slaves. These were victims of raped women. Okay? So the history of the white slave is very complicated, and I'm using white slave just to describe the light-complected black man, okay? But they have faced a long history of abuse. Oftentimes, the light-complected black man feels like a man without a country. He doesn't completely feel accepted within his own ethnic group, and he's just as unwelcomed in white circles. Women faced probably some of the most, if not the most, brutality on the slave plantation because of their fair skin and their silky hair and their seemingly white appearance. They essentially had a sex doll. They were used largely as comfort girls, concubines, or what they called fancy girls. They were oftentimes sold into sex slavery, raped viciously. Harriet Jacobs, probably the most famous example that we could give as to the atrocities committed on the plantation to white-complected black people. She had this sick, demented slave master named James Norcom. And this guy was a 100% lunatic that was obsessed with Harriet. So obsessed with her that even his wife did not want Harriet in the house. This man raped and abused Harriet for years to avoid the constant abuse and rape that she was facing from James. She fled and hid in a rooftop for 7 years, so small that she could not even stand up inside of it. To control her, he threatened, I will sell your children, and I will sell them to 2 different plantations. He wanted complete ownership and dominance over her body. She still fled. She still hid. Both her children were sold. After 7 years of hiding in an attic crawl space, essentially, she flees the plantation and makes it into the free North, we'll call it, in New York City. This man searched high and low for her, put out rewards for her, wanted her back. This is how sick this man was. Shifting gears a bit, I want to talk about, if you haven't read this book ever, it's written by John Howard Griffin, who darkened his skin to disprove his theory that people weren't that racist and they didn't really treat black people all that bad. So an affluent white man paints his face and then walks among the people that he has always known as a black man to see what the treatment would be like. The book is worth reading. White slave masters have always had a long interest in black vagina. And if they could own some vagina, but have it seemingly to appear white, they had a good time with it. Now, there's a very detailed statement inside of this book that really captures the psychology of how people thought during these time periods. We will do business with you people, i.e. black people. We will do business with you people. We'll sure as hell screw your women. Other than that, you're just completely off the record as far as we are concerned. And the quicker you people get that through your heads, the better you'll be. So why do I say all of this? The light-complected black people of historic times have faced equal and in some cases worse atrocities than their black counterpart, especially the women. Remember, the light-complected black man worked alongside his black counterpart. The light-complected black woman was raped and brutalized just like her black female counterpart. And I'll close on this. The white mother, at the time that the white slave girl photographs began to circulate and white slave girls were seen working on plantations and they were saw as being victimized by slave masters and racist people, the white slave mother began to become worried. If this can happen to that girl who looks just like my girl, what will they do to my daughter? What do you guys think? I'm RJ Roger. This is Amoral Minds. I got a great book coming out, The Don. It'll be in stores soon. Please support the book when it hits stores. Peace and love, and I'll see you next week.